Admiral Dr. Rachel Levine gets emotional in discussion of her role in LGBTQ history during a White House interview with Queer News Tonight, part 4 of 4. This evening, Queer News Tonight brings you Admiral Dr. Rachel Levine. She is America's first four-star trans admiral and the first trans Senate confirmed cabinet member. Tonight, Levine talks about the LGBTQ plus community, and this is the final part of my extensive interview of this fragile moment for her, the trans community, and our entire LGBTQ community. She talks about the history of these moments we are living, and I discuss with her about the lens of history needed in becoming an icon in our community, including Bayard Rustin for civil rights, Silvia Riviera for Stonewall, Harvey Milk for politics, and then I ask her how she feels history will judge her as an addition to that icon status. You get to watch her emotional response by her standards. Actually, watch this.
Well, I think that our community is always stronger when we stand together against the challenges that we face. And so, again, being a positive and optimistic person, I think that the trans community certainly welcomes the support of everyone in our rainbow family, so to speak. And I think that we can and will stand together.
Yeah. I also want to ask you about the broad community support for our community. There's been so much said and discussed in the last number of weeks about the Dave Chappelle special at Netflix and trans-related issues and LGBTQ-related issues. Any thoughts about what you've watched in America's discussion in the community and out of the community on Dave Chappelle?
I'm not really going to comment on that, but I think it's very important to understand the progress that our LGBTQI plus community has made, but that we have to make progress for everyone, including the most vulnerable in our community. I had mentioned that LGBTQI plus youth, particularly trans youth, are vulnerable. Seniors in our community are vulnerable. Immigrants in our community are vulnerable. And really, in many ways, the most vulnerable are LGBTQI plus individuals of color. And, you know, trans women of color, for example, are at risk not just of harassment or discrimination, but they are at risk of violence and murder. So we have to stand together. We have to work together to consolidate and then continue the progress that we have made for everyone in our rainbow family.
You know, very well said. Thank you. One of the last thing that I want to mention to you is we've been through the 50th anniversary of Stonewall, 50, 60 years of progress in America for the LGBTQI plus community. We talk about icons that push our community forward. I think of Bayard Rustin in the March on Washington and civil rights in the 60s. I think about Silvia Riviera in 1969 at Stonewall. I think of Harvey Milk and his political advocacy in San Francisco in 1978. The judge of time and iconic and history is judged over the lens of having some time removed to examine. What is your reaction in the names that I just used of Rustin and Riviera and Milk, that in the course of history, one of the names that's going to be added to that list is going to be Rachel Levine?
Well, that is just an honor for you to mention my name in the context of of those heroes of the LGBTQI plus community. I realize that I stand on the shoulders of those who came before me in terms of the progress that we have made. Many of those are people, like you've mentioned, that we know their names. There are also so many names that we don't know, because they had to live and to work in the shadows. So I know that I will do everything I can to advocate for everyone in our LGBTQI plus community broadly. And I feel that that is my role and my legacy.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think the lens of history is going to conclude exactly what I have just set up. Last moments of opportunity. What's next for us? What do you want to see from the community next?
Well, I think that that we need to continue our work. We cannot get discouraged. We have to continue to work together, and again, to work with an administration that and a president that sees us, that recognizes us, and that supports us.
Heard loud and clear. I thank you very much. To be honest with you, long advocacy in our community. I do not think I ever considered that I would have the opportunity to speak to somebody, the first trans person. Forgive me for continuing to provide that label and your name confirmed by the Senate. It's been quite a pleasure. And history, we are watching you closely. We're cheering you behind the scenes loudly. And Admiral Rachel Levine, 4-star Admiral, we thank you very much for being with us tonight here at Queer News Tonight.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
I encourage you to watch all 4 parts of this special interview with Dr. Admiral Rachel Levine.
Wow.
Come on, Rachel.
Amazing, yeah, powerful. I can see her making a difference, having such a important and public role in this country. Bravo.
And I got choked up too. I mean, you saw that, and it's the icon label is well deserved, well earned, absolutely.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think we would ever see somebody in this representation at this high of a level. We're there early. I think the train arrived at the station early, thanks to Obama in 2008 to 16, and certainly now Biden and Harris.
Well, and again, a little plug for Pennsylvania. She's a Pennsylvania girl. I'm a Pennsylvania boy.
Yeah, I heard her voice.
Governor of Pennsylvania for supporting her entirely through the whole pandemic. That's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. You have to go back and watch all of the segments. She addresses the confirmation hearing, 52-48, 2 Republicans, 100% of the Democrats, only 2 Republicans. But that was enough to be bipartisan, and that gets it into into the history books. Yeah. And she talks about the community, and we're going to do one of the stories tonight that is so centric in our own community. We talk about Tori Cooper's comments, the first trans woman of color in a White House committee, the HIV committee, saying absolutely the L and the G and the B and the Q of our community do not support the T. She is emphatic on it. And Rachel Levine's comments about that. It's a very interesting insight. And it's very hard, by the way, for LGBT, because Admiral Levine is very reserved, not very political at all, doesn't want to mix her health advocacy with the political world that is going on. So
she shot down your Chappelle reference.
I just batted it down completely.
I was thinking maybe she doesn't even know who he is.
She definitely knows who she is. She just didn't want to comment on it, and that was it. Yeah. Well, make sure you watch it. It's quite interesting. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ